Hey everybody, welcome to the Patty G Show. I am your host, Patty G. We are here with Robert and Casey from BR.Cade. We're going to talk a little bit about collecting, talk about arcade games, the bar scene, and also talk about the walkability of the bar scene here in Baton Rouge and what some business owners are working towards improving in that space. But before we get to that, big, wonderful shout out to the amazing sponsors that make this show possible each and every week. We've got Government Taco, Falaya Real Estate, Lake Men's Health Center, Horizon Financial Group, Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, and you know every week the Outfit and Wardrobe is brought to you by McClavy's Limited right there on Jefferson and Corporate. And without further ado, Casey and Robert, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us. Thank you.
Nice to be here.
Thank you all for coming on and braving the Baton Rouge traffic that we all have come to know and despise, love, or whatever you want to classify it as.
Home sweet home.
Serenity now.
Let alone Thanksgiving is, right around the corner.
Sure.
And so it's just, I feel like
You have to be
The
extra
days-
patient right now because there are people from out of town that don't understand our rules here.
right.
So, everybody out there, just be extra patient, please.
They're easy to spot because they honk their horns. Here in Baton, we don't honk our horns until we're like going to hit you.
Sure.
Then we honk our horns. Like I was driving today down Jefferson. I was like, why are all these people honking their horns? Like these out of towners. Like who are these people? But y'all are the two of the owners of BR.Cade.
That's right.
Why don't y'all tell everybody listening or watching what exactly it is, and then we'll kind of start getting into how this came to be.
Okay. BR.Cade is Baton Rouge's BR.Cade, Baton Rouge's arcade bar. We opened in March of this year, and it's been a lot of fun. I mean, we specialize in restoring and having on the arcade floor the original classic games. We really kind of take pride in that. We have the original CRTs in there, which is, the tube monitor. All original game hardware in the inside, original cabinets restored nicely. We also have a full service bar in the building. I mean, what's better? Playing Miss Pac-Man and having a Puck-Man cocktail is what we call it.
Yeah. Puck-Man cocktail. That's right. Y'all are known for specialty cocktail drinks.
We've got a couple. Mm-hmm.
So, how did y'all meet first and foremost to even start contemplating this idea?
We probably don't remember the first time we met because I used to frequent Dubik's just as I used to. Robert is the owner, is a owner of Dubik's Martini Bar. We're going to get into that later, just talking about some of the other subjects in the podcast. But we used to meet going out and about on the town.
Used to drink a lot.
Yeah, as young men,
Yeah, we have a mutual, our third partner that can't be here, Cave. He is, I've been knowing him for a little longer than Casey.
That's right.
But he kind of introduced us, and man, we just kind of hit it off. It feels like I've been knowing him for many years. Great partner. It's been a lot of fun just hanging out and working.
Yep.
So how did one day y'all decide, let's open a bar?
Well, I think the collection just got too big, honestly.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, they had more, at their homes. I mean, first time I went to Casey's house, I felt like I was in an arcade because there was cabinets everywhere.
So y'all are collectors of the arcade machines.
Yeah,
that's how it started out.
That's how it started.
Gotcha.
That's how it started. The first arcade I purchased, it was just on a whim. Summer of 2016. It was just real crazy. I usually would get home earlier than my wife, so I'd just be on the back porch enjoying the afternoon and looking at Craigslist or just things on my phone, just killing time until my wife got home. Sure enough, I see an arcade machine pop up, and it was real close to where we were living at the time, and it was $300. I was like, well, big deal. Let's try. I've always wanted one. I'm gonna go. I didn't even ask my wife, poor thing, and we'll go pick it up. Sure enough, the whole thing worked. It was really cool. Brought it home. She was very receptive, and God bless her. And that's how it started for me. It was just a bug. I mean, I figured at one point, well, I own this thing. I've got to, because I really don't have a background in like old electronics or any kind of electronic work, honestly.
So what is your background? Let's start with
for a long time, I worked for Dakota's Restaurant and Bar Equipment on Florida Boulevard. So that is kind of where I kind of at least got comfortable with working on things. So, we would deliver or install equipment all around town. And some of that would be, it could be anything from, gas plumbing to, regular plumbing to some electronic work here and there, or if anything, just power in general. So that at least gave me a little bit of confidence once I decided I was going to kind of start collecting these things and working on them. Well, I could figure this stuff out. There's got to be somebody out there that I could either read from or they could show me, and just went from there. And man, by the seat of my pants, really.
So you just started buying up machines left and right.
Well, not left or right, but whenever they'd come available and they were dead, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, and Robert, what's your background?
Well, I mean, I love to play arcades. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when Pac-Man came out. But my background's more the bar industry. So I've been owning Duvic since 2008. It's been a fun transition to watch kind of Baton Rouge kind of evolve, and really felt like it was a good time for an arcade bar. I mean, we don't have something like that here. Our model is kind of cool too. So you come in and you pay a little cover charge, and we do have some nights where it's free and you get to play the games for free. It's called free play, so you don't have to bring quarters for the arcades, which are really cool. And we have a bunch of pinballs too. So a lot of people that haven't been around pinballs that much, you can really get some of the older ones, some of the newer ones, so you can kind of see how they play different. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, and so with your experience in the bar scene and your experience, I guess, just slowly acquiring arcades, I mean, when y'all were sourcing our guests, how did this idea kind of come to fruition?
Yeah.
Well, our other partner, the third partner, Caveman, his John Dodgerel, but he goes by Caveman. He's been going by that since he was a little kid. There's a backstory. I'll let him tell it one day. But he and I were at one point and then mutually collecting. So he would find something, oh yeah, let's go get it. Or sometimes we'd go in together on something, or I'd just help him pick it up, or vice versa. So that's really how the collection really kind of started doubling and going crazy. Where was I?
Yeah, we had a lot of games. We have about 25 on the floor. And I just want to say something about Casey. Like, he's being modest about fixing them, but like literally, when you go play a game, like new buttons, like the CRT's like dialed in nice, like the game plays like you would have played it in '85 or whatever. But we have a whole bunch in the back that we're constantly working on. But basically, there's so many games that we just want to share them with people. And no other way to do that is at a bar, having drinks too.
That's right.
It seems like the two have always gone hand in hand. And we're 21 and over, so we're not trying to be everything. We just want to be a good arcade in a bar.
That's right.
So have you seen this type of concept before in other places and wanted to bring it to Baton Rouge? Or because for me, if I'm thinking of a bunch of arcade machines, like let's just open an arcade, but it's like, I guess within the bar space of your mind, it's like, well, maybe we'll make it into both. Is this a concept or a model that has been done before?
Well, the free play model, absolutely. It's a pretty recent thing for arcades. I first came across it. There's a place in Richardson, Texas, right there in North Dallas. It's called Free Play, and man, they're great. The guys I've never really met them, but I've been to a bunch of their places, and they've really blown up over the last. I guess their first location was Richardson, and opened maybe 10 years ago. But now they have locations in Denton, Fort Worth. They're about to open like a real big one in Dallas proper. And they seem to do really well. And what I thought was impressive of them was their quality of machines. How everything was really nice and neat in there, but not to where it wasn't unapproachable. That's something I try and balance too with restoration of games. Is I feel like if it looks too brand new, it's not going to really live up to an older person, people our age, our memory of what it was. So to me, there's got to be a little bit of a balance of patina, and I think they did that really well. Like I said, cleanliness, the place just ran. You could tell it ran beautifully. Everybody was happy that was working there. It looked cool, definitely hasn't been tried in Baton Rouge. There have been other places that would have arcade machines, and it would be more of like a family place, either like a restaurant or those are really big right now, like the bigger kind of corporate places they have in town where it's almost like a Dave and Buster style place or whatever, and it's more of a family friendly, which is fine, and there is definitely a place for that. But
Yeah, we don't have any claw games or any skee ball.
No,
Or
yeah,
anything
no,
like that. Like
or no ticket
kind of
redemption.
focus
That's what I was about to say.
on-
Like, you don't have the whole.
We're here for an
Sure.
experience. You know, we're not trying to, like I said, to be everything, but we are one thing. You know, it's when you walk in there, you do feel like you're in a classic arcade. The sounds, the smells, and everything. It really kind of brings you back a little bit. And I think, you know, to capture that, and now in 2022, some of these machines are 40 years old.
Sure.
I mean, they weren't designed to live that long. So to bring them back to life, to me, it's almost like an interactive kind of museum in there, because some of those pieces are older than a lot of artwork that you see nowadays. That, you know, a lot of attention to detail goes into the side art and everything. So just to be able to share those with people, really, it's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
Well, and you're also attracting a younger crowd that may not have been exposed to that type of machine, that type of gameplay. And I know probably initially it's kind of a step back and like, wait, these graphics are so much older than what we're used to, but it's that sense of nostalgia, that sense of holding on to what they were at the time and where they meant, right?
A lot of younger people, I think, played it on their phone. Like maybe first time they played Pac-Man, it was on, you know, and to play it like physically on a cabinet, that's the real deal from 1981. It's an experience that you can't get from your phone. Like you have to be there. And it's addictive too. It's a lot of fun. Like, and all our machines are, well, not all of them yet, but most of them do have high score savers. So, you know, when we turn everything off at night and the next day, you know, your high score may still be there unless somebody beat it.
Right.
So.
And I love the free play model as well. You know, because all the arcades nowadays that we were talking about, they have that ticket redemption, that younger crowd attraction where you're playing for a purpose, right? You're playing for the purpose of getting the tickets to then go and redeem for a prize. And then it's like you're just trying to build up these tickets, and they're making money via the model of swiping the cards, right? Because I haven't been to one of those Dave & Buster's style joints that have not had a card swipe feature now.
Sure.
They're all kind of
that's
moved
like
to
the
that.
standard now.
Right, now it's standard. You just load the card and the kid runs and it goes, and it's like they just keep swiping until they're out of
And you don't know
swipes.
what the game costs. Like it could be a $2
Well,
game.
I
It could
think
be
it's now credits. It's like, it's 50 credits. Well, what is it $50 or 50 cents? You have no idea what the credits are.
in today's currency, those games, you're looking at $1 per game. Like, and now, like in our currency back versus the 80s, a quarter play. So, you know, we feel like you definitely get a bang for your buck. Like it's a lot of variety, and sometimes you just get stuck on a game. You can keep hitting that start button and just keep going, and you realize like an hour later, you know, your hand's hurting.
I was going to comment on comparing like with younger people finding those old games on like a phone or like a touch iPad, whatever. Something that I think people have forgotten, that there is a spectator aspect to you know the arcade. I mean, even especially on one level, when I was a little kid, I might have just run out of quarters real fast, but I could still walk around and like, oh, this is crazy. Or look what this guy's doing, you know, or
Like a live Twitch.
Sure,
Right,
sure,
exactly.
absolutely.
In-person Twitch stream, right?
In-person Twitch stream.
Or then, you know, you might be the performer to where you know you are excellent at this one game and you were going to go. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of it's just for you. You want to get that high score. It's a way for you to relax or whatever have you. But, I mean, I'm sure that it is a performance, too. If you walk in an arcade and see some person going crazy on, you know, a joust machine, and it's like, wow, I'm going to sit and watch this for a second.
Well, and it's also when you have, we're starting to get around the holidays, right? So people are in from out of town. I've got some friends in from Nashville and whatnot. And if you remember back when everybody was growing up and you've got those games in your head that we went to arcades and we were able to play this together at a young age, now you kind of rebuilt that memory for them where it's like, we got to go to BR.Cade and play that, you know, that dueling game that we used to play, or something where we used to go into an arcade and just battle each other. Now it's on whatever gaming console they sell to the general public, but y'all are bringing back that true feel that I think a lot of people, we've gotten away from. But again, since we've had this COVID era of not being able to do anything and not being able to be interactive with people, we want that experience now. As consumers, they're after, what is that experience that I'm going to leave my house for and actually go and do, rather than simply use the next best technology to accomplish it.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's what's great. You can be a bit of an introvert and come to BR.Cade and just play a game and have a beer or two. So you can, you know, it definitely gives people options to meet new people, or just come and just hang out alone, you know, and play the game and concentrate.
So do y'all have a food component to BR.Cade?
No food. You know, we thought about it, and it just, I don't think food really goes with what we're trying to do there. It just, the games, you know, they are sensitive. we got to watch the drinks and people. By the way, you can't put your drinks on the game.
No. We have little special tables.
Designate a cup
Please don't
holder.
put your drink on the game.
Custom tables built between each machine where there is room where you can keep your eye on your drink too while you play.
Yeah, we felt like the food game down Government's pretty good. There's a lot of really good places,
without a doubt.
and to throw your hat in that,
Without
like
a
you
doubt.
really got to know what you're doing. So yeah, we're just gonna stick to the games in the bar right now.
Well, the food scene and the entertainment scene down Government Street has kind of exploded
Oh yeah,
It has.
over the
It
last
is.
few
It
years.
has. It's been a lot of fun.
So I mean, and y'all just went through White Light Night, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. That was
How was
Friday.
that?
It was crazy. It
was
was
fun.
crazy. It was a blast. A lot of people, a lot of new people. Everything worked, nothing broke.
Yeah.
So super happy about that.
That's right.
But no, it was a great night. It's just a good night to have. I think a lot of people come to Mid City that don't normally go to Mid City all the time. So to be able to meet new people, new faces, it's pretty fun.
So the cocktail creation
Mm-hmm.
that y'all have over there, I mean, some of this stuff is just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
How do y'all even create these concepts and these ideas within these drinks?
It's when it comes to cocktails, it's hard to come up with something original. It really is. I mean, everybody has done everything. It seems like it. So, we get the video game inspiration. We do a lot of tasting there. So, we do a lot of research to figure out, hey, what's some good new combinations. We're actually working on a new menu right now. We got a bunch of new cocktails that we're going to be launching really soon. But we have kind of everything that, if you want a whiskey style drink, you can, we have something that fits that profile all the way to something kind of gentle, smooth, if you like gin. So, definitely the cocktails are really good. I recommend them.
How important is that component to y'all's business? Like the time and meticulation that goes into developing the drinks?
It's very
I'd say
important.
It's equally as the machines, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's definitely a give and take. Our hook is the games, but we want people to stay and drink. So obviously, we want to have a good product, in both departments. So yeah, equally important.
Yeah, and that menu, like you said, is if it's ever evolving, ever changing, it gets tricky, and then you're balancing your time between the two different bars. And is this your full-time thing that you're doing as well, Casey?
I'm a stay-at-home father as well.
Love
but
that.
Yes,
Love
absolutely.
that.
Then absolutely yes.
Is it ever bring your kid to work day?
Yeah. Closing hours, of course. We're closed. I have my 4 children running around a live bar.
Yeah.
But I think they get a kick out of it. I have a 3-year-old and a 5-month-old, so the 5-month-old is fine wherever we go. But the 3-year-old, he's really kind of grown to really get a kick out of it. He has a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so the balancing for you, Robert, how is that?
Man, it's definitely a lot of hours, a lot of extra hours, but totally worth it because at BR.Cade I can play some pinball, unwind a little bit. So it's been a lot of fun. Duvix, it's pretty well oiled. I mean, we've got a really great staff there. Management is awesome. So just as long as things don't break over there, things are go pretty smooth. So, we're building a new patio there. We got a whole bunch of things in the work over there too, because we were talking earlier, that whole neighborhood's kind of evolving. So yeah, we're just trying to keep up over there.
So on the Mid-City neighborhood, when y'all were looking for a space, did y'all always know it was going to be Mid-City, or what went into nailing down where y'all are?
That was, yeah.
It's high on our list.
It was high on our list,
Very
but
high
we
on
were
our
definitely
list.
open to other parts of town. I mean, anything. Really, we were trying to find the right building, a building that could accommodate what we needed to be able to have.
Got a lot of power.
Sure. Well, man, oh boy,
Yeah.
our electrician that came through, man, he did a really good job.
Great job.
He did a lot of good work in there, a lot of work. But it was
We
more
needed
about
a space too.
the space and the
Yeah.
feel of the building,
Yeah.
And the building we're in right now, man, it really ended up just accommodating us very well.
Yeah.
And it's got a little warehouse space at the back where we can store games, have a shop, work on games. As a cool feel to where the arcades are, they have kind of their own side of the place. The bar has its own side, but it's all close enough to where it feels together.
So what about Mid-City made it be like y'all's have to be place?
I think it's just the kind of the vibe. It just the neighborhood. They're making it really pedestrian friendly. Government Street just had that kind of road diet, which really kind of it's got its pros and cons, But I think just the neighborhood in general, it was a fun neighborhood, a lot of fun stuff to do there, like you said, up and coming businesses.
Well, and that area's willingness to have something different and support something a little different. I mean, that the acts, civil acts is right, right there next to us too, and it's a different thing too. I think it's real cool that within just a little span you could have wonderful dinner choices, and then go throw an axe, go play Galaga. Have a few drinks, and and all that be walkable and all right there.
Yeah, I think the development of government and what they're doing and the businesses that are being attracted there. So I live right next to Mid-City. So seeing that slowly develop has been incredible, because there was a point in time where people in Baton Rouge would always ask, what are we doing tonight? We've got great restaurants, but from an entertainment scene, I mean, y'all kind of accommodate both within that. So, I mean, what have y'all seen developing behind the scenes and also playing a role with y'all's place from the entertainment side of what Baton Rouge and Government Street more specifically has to offer?
Well, government definitely has a lot of room to grow. There's a lot of other places coming on board. There's a few other bars. I think Pelican and Mars is supposed to be opening. There's a little disco bar opening right down the street. So definitely, I really see the nightlife coming online. It's good to be an anchor bar there. It's good to be the only arcade bar in town, right there in Mid-City. It definitely draws people. So we just want to be a part of that growth. But yeah, I like to see people invest, and a lot of people are coming to do things in Mid-City, because it's just the neighborhood, like I said, has a good vibe. The people are really welcoming to new businesses. They're supportive. So it's a great area. It really is.
Yeah.
It really, really is.
What do y'all think we can do to continue that attraction of venues to keep opening up, or the ones that are there, push them out to the public saying we've got this cool stuff to do here in BR?
Well, like that White Light Night event, Friday, it's really introduces a lot of new people to Mid-City. The art, there's just a lot of really good artists down government. I just don't think we focus enough on like having enough, vibe, bringing that out. There's just all kind of stuff you could do Mid-City wise. I mean, there's just a ton of businesses that love to participate. So, I mean, the whole walking thing, I think it's great. I think the shuttle system, I think they had at one point, was real nice to take people back and forth. I think that would, if they could come up with something like that, that would definitely be a neat little addition to Mid-City, maybe connecting downtown, just kind of having something kind of go back and forth. But so far, I like what they're doing. There's a lot of really smart people working on it, and I think they're steering it in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, and I think it takes the power of the business owners willing to open up shop there.
Yeah, it does
to continue push them to. I drive down Government frequently, at least every Thursday, and there's a lot of just like falling apart structures of buildings.
Sure.
There's a lot of uninhabited buildings, and it's always. I know we're starting. I guess they're starting like with Jefferson and Government to then continue development, but then you also have people that end up closing down, like Fleur de Lis Pizza just closed down. Like so now you got a vacant building there, and I think Government's biggest crutch is going to be how do we fill this vacant space, because it's. And it's. I don't think it's quite. And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think it's quite to where we have more occupied than vacant buildings on Government. I mean, what are y'all thoughts on that and what can be done?
Coming out of COVID, a lot of people are nervous about opening new businesses. I get it, but I mean, I see a good level of growth right now in Government. I do see a lot of for rent signs, but I don't think they'll be up for long. I think there are people that are kind of looking that, I have a good friend of mine that's looking for a business on Government right now, building. So there's definitely people out there that are shopping Government Street. They just need to keep keeping it clean and just, keeping, like those buildings, like our building, we didn't change it. We wanted to keep that historical, we didn't do a whole lot to it other than, add the modern stuff. But I think a lot of those old buildings that are dilapidated, I'd love to see them get saved, and something happen to them. But I just think it's just going to take a little pressure from people that have the power to put the pressure on people to fix your building or, do something with it, or give it to the city, let the city take it and do something with it. So.
Right. I love the patina that the buildings have. Yeah. Like they have that old
It's got a
feel.
feel to it. Yeah. You don't want to lose that. Just like our games, they have a feel to it. It takes a lot more time to restore it than it does to gut it and, make it modern. Sure. So,
Yeah, you got that added cost too, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not cheap to go into a building that's the found doesn't have good bones, right? That's what they say in the real estate terms, good bones.
Yeah,
you
you gotta have good
you have
bones.
weak bones in some of these buildings that it gets pricey.
Yeah, it does.
Which initially deters those folks because not everybody's got, just piles of money they're sitting on waiting to throw it into a project that they don't know if it's going to survive.
Yeah.
So it's that evaluation point of what can be done in these buildings. I would love to see some of these older historic buildings taken, revitalized, and just brought back to life. For me, it's like Government Street is prone to that scene from Cars where they drive down and all the lights come on. It's like, oh, they revitalized what this was. What y'all are doing with BR.Cade is a part of that. Y'all are kind of pushing that initiative of let's start, giving some life to this road that was once, very, very much unoccupied.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with the model, do you think it's like a 2-location sustainability? Or y'all looking at a second location? Is the collection warranting a second location? What are the plans for growth down the line?
We've discussed it. It's not off the table, but really at this point, we want to focus on what we have now, and try and grow this location as much as we can. With that building and everything that's a part of it, there's still potential for a lot.
We got a little room for expansion in the building.
Okay.
And you made a good point with the games. It just, that we don't want to open up an empty room that doesn't have any games. So having the right amount of games and pinball to occupy the space is definitely going to be a big part. And, Casey does a lot of his work back there, so we'll need an off-site facility to do repairs and stuff. So, don't really see another location anytime soon, but like definitely if we had 300 games, I'd probably say let's do another location.
How many games do y'all have right now?
Oh, on the top of my head, I'm probably close to 80 to 100.
Yeah, 80 to 100
80
at
to
least.
100.
Yeah.
There's I think right now 30 on the floor, 30 arcade machines and 9 pinball machines.
Yeah.
So
now the pinball, I don't know if you're a pinball fan.
I love me some pinball.
But that is a lot of fun. It's just so much action. And we have some old ones, so you can really be challenged with one of these really hard ones. Or, we have like the Godzilla. We have 2 Godzilla pinballs. We have Iron Maiden, Houdini. There's Pirates. There's all kind of
really
good fun
well
ones.
They're really fun to play.
And they're meticulously maintained. So, they're fun to play.
The pinball machines, just from a tech standpoint and like a construction standpoint, they're complex machines.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on in those.
Like the layers and the levels that have to go into the development behind these machines is not for the faint of heart, right?
No. When you open one up and lift up the table and actually see underneath it, and then you think about, they've designed this, like you're saying, this whole thing meticulously to work with, chance, but controlled chance, It's mind-boggling.
To me, it just blows me away that you have this little metal ball, just flying all around, hitting these little plastic parts and just nailing stuff all night long. And how do you not break more often? I should knock on wood, but
right.
They do break.
They don't break.
They do break.
Absolutely.
They do definitely break. But no, definitely, it's just one of those things. You can't really go on YouTube and look up a video on how to fix a Galaga. It's just kind of one of those things that I guess Casey, during just working on boards over time, you just kind of learn, how they work, and you get a feel for what's wrong with them.
Make a lot of mistakes.
It's definitely interesting in watching troubleshoot something.
You see a lot of smoke, and you feel a little bit of shocks from time to time, but I guess that's the best way to learn.
Well, getting to this technology, right? It's not out of this world complicated.
No,
right?
it's really not.
And so it's kind of.
We would love to have a Radio Shack open up right now.
Oh,
It'd be the best thing.
Right?
Open a Radio Shack.
Back to
We need a Radio Shack.
You're saying you can't get the normal supplies from like Amazon? They don't sell that stuff all the time?
You'd be surprised. A lot of stuff they do. A lot of the old school ICs, the little chips. Texas Instruments or overseas companies, they still make them. They still make like a Z80 processor. They still make that stuff. Some stuff is hard to find. A lot for CRT repair, some of those parts. That I don't even think there's a factory in the entire planet anymore that has the technology or has
to make a vacuum tube.
Yeah, to make the shape of the vacuum tube. It's one of those things. It's almost like a lost technology. Once they got rid of all the equipment that had been doing it for 70, 80 years, then it was we don't need that anymore. Gone, and no one's gonna really spend the money to do that. It would just be for Unless there was like a Willy Wonka of arcades. It's like, yeah, one day I'm gonna open up my own tube factory.
So, I mean, what do you do in that scenario?
You try and salvage it as much as you can, and then
There's still quite a few of them out there.
There are.
But
if there's just a part that you really need that you don't have, you just
wait.
Yeah, you can hold on to that monitor or that part of that monitor until maybe you might come across somebody who has a dead one, but it's dead from different parts, and you could salvage it right off and hope you get a couple more years out of it.
Right. I mean, that balancing act, I'm sure, is challenging between keeping the nostalgic feel of the machine and battling the ever-developing technology in the space when you can't marry the two, right?
Well, every time one dies, another one isn't being produced. So
right, exactly.
It's kind of like they're hard to find, and we definitely don't we don't negotiate that, right? No LCD screens.
And I've got nothing against it. I mean, there are
it's
plenty.
It's just not what we want.
And it is. Oh, if I had a bigger place or anything like, it's easier to maintain. A lot of casual players they don't really notice, but they do. I think they do. They see it is a different glow. It's a different look. It's a different feel.
There's some games like Dragon's Lair you probably wouldn't really notice too much of a difference, in the gameplay.
Sure.
But like a Galaga on an LCD screen versus a tube, I think you would notice a different feel to the way the game plays.
There's a time and place for that type of thing, but for what we like to do, like Robert mentioned earlier, we like it to be like a museum piece almost.
Right. Yeah, you've got a touch and feel museum, instead of
captured
don't touch
in time,
this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, from the clientele standpoint, have they been? What does it even look like? Are you seeing people come in that have never experienced this before?
Sure.
And just like, what do we do?
Customers from 21 years old to 75. I mean, if not older. I mean, on a Friday or Saturday night. I mean, you
never know what you're gonna get.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're a come as you are place, so we welcome everybody. But yeah, it's like the younger people almost kind of romanticize it a little bit. It definitely has that kind of throwback feel. Something that you didn't get to experience. And people like me, older, it's definitely you get that little. I haven't played that game in a long time. I have to play it, and then you realize that you're old and you can't really your reaction time isn't that fast.
Your reaction time is not what it was.
Not there. But no, definitely we have all ages come in over 21. But yeah, it definitely it's a good mix of people. A lot of people from out of town come by and check it out. So definitely interesting to see the crowd.
I was about to say, it's got to create this really cool vibe of people that, for your 21 and over crowd, it's hard to say that now they had to be born in 2001. And you've got machines from 84, 85, even
we have one from
that.
77.
From 77, right?
Yeah.
And so these predate them by almost a generation at this point.
Definitely.
And it's like they've never even heard of this. And they may have seen it in a museum somewhere, but to then actually get to interact with these machines, I mean, BR.Cade is just doing something where it's like a little time capsule, right?
Yeah.
And I just think it's really incredible with what y'all are doing over there that you've got young people interested in it. Now it's where can we go on a Friday, Saturday night? Well, let's go to BR.Cade because they've got some really cool stuff that we don't have. You can buy any type of equipment you need now. You can't buy what y'all have in your shop, which is really cool. Yeah. So do y'all ever do any tournament style play or anything of that? Y'all have, how are y'all engaging the community to keep them coming back?
Oh, sure. We absolutely do. We would like to partner with a lot of the breweries and stuff to where, we'll have something sponsored and have, arcades for me was really more early 90s. So, Street Fighter 2, I mean, that's when that was real hot. So we'll definitely have competitions for that, and people come and, the brewery send somebody and they'll have specialties and have fun stuff going on. It's fun. It's fun to do the competition.
The 23rd of November, this coming up week, we're doing a partnership kind of with Tin Roof.
Yeah, that's right.
We're going to be doing like a pint night, and we're going to do our Godzilla free play, and we're going to have prizes for top scores and stuff. So definitely want to encourage people to come hang out. Tournaments, we do Street Fighter, like Casey said.
Fighting tournaments. We've done Pac-Man tournaments, high score, Donkey
high score
Kong,
stuff.
Sure.
It's a lot of fun too because it really brings out some players. I thought I was pretty good at some of these games. Man, we were testing them before we opened, and we'd play them, and we'd set a pretty decent high score. First week we opened, they all got just destroyed.
Right.
I mean, destroyed. And so it's really interesting to see these people that really can play these games. Like it's fun. It's a lot of fun, especially the tournaments. It brings out the good players.
That's awesome. So do y'all ever rent the space out as a whole for different functions, whether it be corporate events, team building events, or even private parties?
Absolutely. We're 100% available for renting. Events at BR.Cade.com is our website if anybody, or email if anybody's interested. But it's actually a great location for events, for offices, and we've had a ton of team building. We've had a ton of just offices doing like a happy hour for their employees and just want to have a fun time. They don't want to talk about work. They just want to come and do something. It's a wonderful place for that. And have an opportunity to hog all the games and pinballs to yourself.
Sure.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So definitely renting it is definitely a really good way to get to know BR.Cade if you want to bring a group.
Yeah, and it's a different atmosphere, right?
Totally different. Yeah.
For team building or team destroying, whatever.
Well, people can,
whatever they're playing.
You got a little beef with somebody, you jump on that Mortal Kombat and you hash it out right there. Don't worry about it.
Sure.
I love that. So, Robert, I wanted to talk to you about the Martini Bar and in particularly the Perkins Overpass area.
Yeah.
So, where is that located and kind of what's your backstory there?
So Duvix is located, it's been there since 1997. I took over with a couple of partners, David Pittman and Shane Courget, back in 2008. And, it was just a good opportunity we had. And, the neighborhood was totally different. We had the old Chelsea's there, old ZZ's was there. I think ZZ's just reopened over where George's used to be.
Okay.
So kind of a crazy thing, all these old nostalgic places coming back. It's a lot of cool stuff happening in that neighborhood. But yeah, we're right under the Perkins Overpass right there. I've been there for a long time. It's just a great little place to go have a drink.
So and that place, like Government Street, is starting to have a little bit more development taking place.
Definitely, the nightlife over there is pretty cool. There's a whole bunch of really nice places. Like we were talking, there's Building 5, there's Merchant K Street, there's the Julio's right there, Ivar's. There's a whole bunch of really good places to hang out. There's variety. Rock and Sake's right down the street. I think there's an Unleaded just opened up a barbecue spot. I mean, it literally, like, if I was to move to Baton Rouge, I probably would want to move in that area. It is really an amazing area. There's so much to do. And I think that's where government's going. I think it's kind of heading that direction. Definitely has a little bit of growth. More people, more businesses that come will definitely bring more of that. But the Perkins area it's very unique too. It's a great neighborhood. It's a really great neighborhood.
So, and within these two areas, your Perkins Overpass and your Government Street, there's some stark differences between the two. One of that being walkability.
Yeah.
How is the walkability from a business owner standpoint within Perkins Row comparison to what y'all have with BR.Cade?
Honestly, we were talking about this already. Baton Rouge is just a hard city to walk in. Like, I mean, it's just, there's not a lot of sidewalks. There's just not a lot of light. I think a big focus on Government Street would be lighting. I think, I would love to see like the bright LEDs and get away from this old style yellow kind of washed out light. Like it needs, like they need
orange, yellow.
kind of a flip side of the coin when y'all got the old tech
I know,
and you're like, let's get some LED lighting in here.
Sure. Well,
we have an alarm on the building, so we do like the tech.
Well, there's ways to treat like LED too,
Exactly.
to where it can look still cool and old school, but still be way more efficient, brighter.
And walking, around the Perkins area, definitely they have a whole bunch of projects that are happening right now. Perkins Overpass. So I think in the next hopefully 5 years, you'll see a totally different landscape out there. A lot of walking, a lot of green space, and like I said, government already started with the road diet, so it has pedestrian friendly walking. I just think more people just need to know there's enough stuff to actually park and kind of walk up and down Government and get variety. Like Casey said, there's axe throwing, there's arcades, there's great places to eat, there's all kind of cool stuff, there's shops, everything. So
yeah, I think events like White Light Night do a part to kind of showcase that, right? Because I think there is this sense of almost like this stigma towards people walking in Baton Rouge, whereas citizens are still not used to seeing people walk.
Yeah, sure.
But when you go to any other big city or any other big town, like walking is just commonplace. Everybody's walking. Everybody's either walking, they're taking scooters or what have you to get around. They're not all just driving in cars. But when we see somebody walking, we're like, are they lost? Like, I know when I walk down Jefferson to go to any of those restaurants right there, it's like you get looked at and people are like, why are you walking?
This is
You know?
dangerous.
There is a bit of a social stigma.
Exactly.
with
Like
it.
that's dangerous.
Yes,
Like it's
yes.
how
You need to
do we
ride.
like overcome this social stigma of walking in Baton Rouge?
You know, that's just one of those things. I think with more businesses, that gives people more opportunity to walk a shorter distance and have something cool to do. I think that kind of brings everything together.
It's almost like if you build it, they will come type thing. I mean, parking. I mean, where are you going to park? I mean, parking is a limited issue. There is a little more parking, I think, in the Perkins side of the city, but.
I have parking over at Duvix is a little sketchy sometimes because we have other businesses, and I mean we want to respect our neighbors and everything, but it does there's a lot of overflow with parking, so parking over on Government definitely is not the best right now.
And then a big difference I think with that area too is it's a little more focused. In the Government Street, I mean it's a pretty long street, and there are, like you were saying earlier, there are sections to where there are old buildings that aren't being used, and I think also in time again if when it starts filling out, it'll be almost okay. Well, now this is a bigger little section of Government, and this is and it'll kind of bring more people in and have a little more focus,
Right. We'll have more of a fuller street, that people can feel safe kind of walking down the street. Because it's right. I guess that's kind of the main priority is they park in the parking lot, walk to the building. If they're going to someplace down the street, with the exception of events like White Light Night, people are not walking from one side of the street.
No, they're trying to hop in the
other
car
side.
and drive.
Exactly. They're hopping in their car and they're going from place to place to place. And it's, I don't know, I think that's an element of a larger city that Baton Rouge kind of needs to find a way to make happen. And through business owners seeing the need for it, y'all are, because y'all are right next to a group of businesses and a cluster of companies. And it's like, we want people to be able to go back and forth between these, because then it creates a more open environment for consumers.
There's more
to
buzz.
come
There's
in.
more action when you have a bunch of variety, and we definitely. I mean, it's coming along really well out down there. I mean, it's as more things are opening, we definitely see a lot more foot traffic. A lot of people have baby strollers, which they can't come into BR.Cade.
Right.
But we have definitely seen an increased amount of foot traffic since last March. So that's for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, and I think to the point of the baby strollers, it's also what other maybe family-friendly functions or places can be created, because that's kind of that's the scene I'm in. I'm in the stroller scene, like I got to go somewhere with a 1-year-old. Where can I go? BR.Cade is not the place to go with a 1-year-old, and I mean outside of even civil acts, I feel like they have an age requirement, don't they?
I'm not sure.
I
can't say that for sure.
I know. I think it's. Yeah, I think
it's to throw the axe.
Yeah, to be in the little alleyway, I think you have to be 16 or something like that. Maybe I'm not exactly sure, but I'd imagine they wouldn't let little toddlers run around there.
Yeah, I don't think.
Sign the waiver if your parents are.
All right,
present.
son, throw that axe.
I don't see what the problem is.
Oh man! So from y'all's eyes as a business owner, what is missing on Government?
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Or like, have y'all been to other cities and you've seen a great concept and like, man, I wish they had that in Baton Rouge?
Another good question. I don't know.
I mean, Government, I think it's definitely going in the right direction. I think Casey made a good point. If we could get a little better parking situation, probably would be helpful for some of the businesses. Just keep kind of keeping things pretty and clean, and I think it'll just kind of progress down that way. But I don't know. I mean, I think just more businesses coming, investing in the area. I think that is the key to really making it grow. I mean, obviously that's been the formula for every big city, and Baton Rouge is kind of a big small town. It has a lot of cool things, but it's kind of spread out. So people are definitely getting the word. That Government's it's becoming one of the destinations in Baton Rouge, so that you can actually go dinner, entertainment, drinks afterwards. So.
Right, because it's different parts about Baton Rouge. I mean, even between what you're talking about in Mid-City and Southtown.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a 10, 15-minute drive on a good day.
Yep.
So like having to go from one side of town to another, it's like you've got these little entertainment clusters, these food clusters, but if you want to go from one place to the other, unless you're downtown where, I mean, I guess you get all of that. You don't have the ability to park one place and then walk around and get wherever you need to be. So, I mean, parking on government is just an absolute nightmare. I mean, you've got establishments now, like Spoken Hub is one of them. They don't have enough parking to accommodate patrons in the restaurant. So then you end up parking on this Pier Grill side, and you have to walk across Government Street with no crosswalk. It gets a little sketch. You got to run fast.
You've done that before.
I've crossed that street quite a few times.
Yeah. So as we kind of start to wrap up the show, we have like a set list of questions we like to ask everybody.
Okay.
And I want to start off with, although I feel like I know the answer because it's almost as if you're living it. What is something you did as a kid you wish you could still do today? That's not arcade games. I'm going to challenge you. That's not playing an arcade game.
Oh, man. Let Casey go first on that. So what was the question again? What
is something you did as a kid you wish you could still do today?
Oh, man. I mean, it's just not get tired like the minute I wake up out of bed. I mean, honestly, like
that's an acceptable answer.
That to me, the energy. I have an 11-year-old, and like, you know, everybody's 11-year-old's probably just, you know, full of energy. My kid just has so much energy, and definitely, I'm like, man, give me some of that. Like, let me get some of that energy because you know, as a kid, you just don't get tired. You know, you're always doing something. You don't want to go to bed. You get up super early, crack of dawn. You're ready to go. Like that's over with. So I'd love to have that back.
Sense of just being energized from the whole day.
The whole day, just waking up and just feeling like, you know, you're just gonna bust through the day.
Yeah, not have that 2 or 3 p.m. lull and just like I need that.
I'm gonna take a nap.
Afternoon coffee or a nap.
Something, anything to play some pinball.
What about you, Casey? What you got?
I don't know. I was trying to think of a couple of things. I mean, in a silly way, you know, you're a little kid, you get into trouble, you just get a little spanking and move on. As an adult, man, when you get into trouble, you get into trouble.
Trouble. Yeah, you get in big trouble.
And it depends on the level of trouble and what agency you're in trouble with.
I'm not looking to make trouble. That's just a silly anecdote, I guess.
Well, no, I mean it's true though, right? You know, you get a question wrong on an exam or something growing up. It's a dock on your grade, but. You know, maybe a CPA by day, if you got somebody that messes up a tax return, that's a whole different situation, right?
Sure.
So doing what y'all have done over the years, you probably learned a few lessons along the way. So what are 3 lessons that each of you have picked up throughout your business career?
I mean, lesson 1 would be, you know, just don't give up. You know, I know that's a cheesy one, honestly,
Very
but
good.
like, I mean, the difference between opening business and not opening it is doing it. Like, you know, it does take resources and stuff. You know, you got to plan that out, but you know, it's never going to get done if you don't take the first step. You know, so I think just doing something. Definitely.
This might seem a little obtuse, but being aware. You know, listening, watching. You know. Be present in your business, which is, I mean, it's something I knew you had to be, but unless you're really doing it, you know, you're doing it. You know it because you know what's going on. Yeah. You see, at least for me, I've been able to trying to be as present as possible. It's helping shape an idea for the future of the business, of course. You know, how to maneuver, how to grow, how to change, for your customers, for your employees, for you, for the health of the business itself.
Right. You have to make sure you keep that business first mindset, but then at the same time, I mean, you, Casey, being a stay-at-home dad, so you got to balance that as well.
Oh, sure.
You know, that gets tough.
Sure.
You said 3, right?
I said 3, man.
Okay. I think kind of going off on what he said about just listening, you know, being, you know, having people that work with you and for you, you know, you want to listen to everybody. You want to listen to what they have to say because you never know. You know, somebody that's just like washing dishes may have this great idea or just, you know, something to help you do something better. You know, it's just, you don't know everything.
Sure.
Not even close. So definitely be humble, you know, no matter how successful you are in life, like just stay humble and understand that there are a lot smarter people out there than you and they could be working for you or with you and appreciate that. Be happy you're around that.
Right, and also appreciate that every position has value.
Absolutely.
You know, we had Brandon Landry on a couple weeks, and he talks about what they discuss before they open a shift at walk-ons, and they ask, you know, if your floor manager left at 9 o'clock on a Friday night, what would happen? They said, well, we'd probably have we have to make our own executive decisions, and we'd probably get by through the end of the night. He says, okay, now what if the dishwasher walked off at 9 o'clock at night on a Friday? And they go, well, we'd be able to creek without a paddle at that point. He said, okay. Then understand that everybody on the team has a position to play regardless of what level they're at. You know, I think it's the same thing for y'all, whether it's somebody fixing the machine or somebody on the floor helping people or serving. Like, you have to realize that the company is a team, and everybody has a role to play regardless of what you may think they are on the totem pole. You know?
And people have options. You know, there's jobs out there. So, like, you know, like at the arcade, I mean, I think people like working there. It's actually a fun place to work. It's kind of hard to take it serious as a job sometimes, you know, so we definitely have to kind of tighten that up. But, you know, as far as the staff goes, you know, definitely want to listen to them. It's super important to know your people, know their names, and just kind of that you're part of your life. Make sure you know them. So
well, and especially knowing that they can just walk a block down the street and find another job.
Sure.
You know, that's been the hardest part for some employers, is finding qualified employees to come and work for them and keep their business going, because they know at the end of the day that every one of those employees can just say, well, I'm going to go somewhere else. You know, and you have that availability right now for at least most industries. So what is something that each of you love about Baton Rouge?
Man, I mean, I've lived here for most of my life, so I mean, it's easy to say, but I mean, I just know so many wonderful people. I mean, it like Robert mentioned earlier, you know, it is like a big small town, a large small, and then in a sincere way, I mean, that it does have that feel, because, you know, there is a community here, and people look out for each other, I think. I mean, I really appreciate it. I love it.
Yeah, everybody bands together when they need to.
That's right.
You know,
that's right.
They come and help their neighbors when times get tough. Through hurricanes, we've seen this time and time again, where people just, doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, we're going to help you if we have the means to.
Definitely the people and the food. You know, obviously, like that's, you know, stereotypical Louisiana, but like it is true. It is very true. It's just unique, you know. The whole city just has a really neat feel. You know, it's got its good and bad. I mean, cities have pros and cons. I think we definitely have more pros, and just people are great here, man. They really are.
So
really
what
nice.
is something that I can do to help y'all?
Come and play some Pac-Man with me.
Learn how to fix a monitor.
I can't do that.
Can you solder or anything?
Would you like to learn to solder?
I can solder copper.
Oh yeah, that's cool. It's a little
Does that
different.
work?
It's not much. It's a similar finesse to it.
That's right. I grew up in an industrial plumbing company with my
cool.
dad, so
Cool.
I can solder some copper.
Oh heck yeah!
yeah.
Awesome.
But outside
That's a great
of that,
profession.
that's soldering wires and electrical was not my forte. Anytime I worked on a car, I was like, okay, countless YouTube hours before I do anything.
Well, I've watched him back there, you know, and you're looking at this board with the 1,000 little contacts, and I'm like, He's like, oh, that one's bad. I'm like, you know, that's bad.
Yeah, what sign?
I guess you just know,
shows that it's
you know,
bad?
you just can tell. But
With that type of stuff, it's like looking at a roadmap. You know, once you know how to look at a roadmap, you know the legend. You can roll with it. You're good.
That is very true, but you got to learn the legend.
exactly.
The legend's not easy to learn. Yeah, the language is challenging.
Yeah.
So, well, thank y'all so very much for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us, man. This has been a lot of fun.
Absolutely, I appreciate y'all's time. I will have to get out there without a stroller.
Yeah, that's okay.
Come play some arcade games and also taste the wonderful
We will
cocktails.
try some good
that y'all
drinks,
got.
and we will play some Gallagher, some Pac-Man. Do you have a favorite classic arcade?
Just a pinball machine. Like, doesn't matter what the theme is. Just a classic pinball machine is something I love. Okay. Just my uncle has one, and just that the old time, just hearing all the bells and whistles go off and the sirens when you get to that next level. That to me like just brings back the good old days, right? So that, other than that, I mean, your classic Pac-Man. Okay. Like I didn't dive into the deep of everything. I came around on the backside of that. So
we have like NBA Jam too.
Yeah, 90s stuff.
Okay. We have the Blitz, NFL, all that stuff.
Ooh. All right, now you got me intrigued. Well, thank y'all so very much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. And I thank everybody else, whether you're watching or listening to the show, thank you so much for the continued support of the Patty G Show and the guests that are out there. If you have not been to BR.Cade yet, be sure to go out there, check them out, and let them know the Patty G Show sent you. You're going to have a blast, whether you were born in 2001 or you were born well in advance of that. You're going to have a good time, and you're going to have that sense of nostalgia feeling about it when you walk in. And also a big thank you to the amazing sponsors that make the show possible each and every week. Hear a little bit more about them right now.
Sell your home for a $399 flat fee with Falaya. No, seriously. Falaya will list your home on the MLS and help you get all the way to the closing table for as little as a $399 flat fee. Our online platform is insanely easy to use and will save you thousands. If you're thinking about selling your home in 2022 and want to keep more of your hard-earned equity in your pocket, you need to check out Falaya. Falaya, real estate reimagined.
Thank you all so very much for listening to this episode of the Patty G Show, brought to you by Government Taco. They're located on the corner of Government Street and Jefferson Highway. Jay is always slinging up a new taco of the month, so if you're a frequenter to Government Taco, let us know in the comments what you thought about this month's taco of the month. If you're not a frequenter, maybe trying out this month's taco might just convert you. Big thanks over to them at Government Taco for making the Patty G Show possible.
Imagine taxiing on a plane looking toward the end of the runway. It seems so far away, it's even hard to see it. And that's what the concept of retirement probably felt like when you were in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, way far in the distance, not visible or even a concern. But as you turn 50, something happens. Retirement suddenly seems like something real, something not too far away. In your 50s, you are rolling down the runway. Retirement is getting closer and closer, faster and faster, weeks and months zipping by. But are you even ready for a successful takeoff to retirement? Fear not, there's still runway left. But the time is now. Time to make progress and time to get a plan. The Runway Decade will help you get organized, get energized, and give you the direction you need to take off to your desired retirement. The Runway Decade, building a pre-retirement flight plan in your 50s.
Thank you to Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge for making this show possible. Nick Pentis is a past guest. We love having him on. Listening to him talk about the culture they have over at Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge is really an incredible thing to hear. How they treat not only their employees, but every customer that walks through the door. You are more than just a number to them. They're going to give you that white glove concierge service every step of the way. They're going to make you feel like family and take what can be a stressful time in people's life, shopping for a car. They're going to make it so enjoyable and so pleasurable. You're going to want to go back there time and time again for every new vehicle. Thank you so very much for Mercedes-Benz of making this show possible. Thank you to our wonderful sponsor, Lake Men's Health Center with Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group. Guys, I know it's tough to get out and go to the doctor. I know it's challenging to find time in our busy days, but I promise you, signing up to be a part of this group with Dr. Curtis Chastain and Dr. Tyler Boudreau, you won't regret it for several reasons, but most of those being the fact of the time it saves, where you're able to get in on the same day, get that appointment done, and spend that time you need to talk with them about what your health goals and concerns are, as well as ensuring that the financial investments you have, you will be able to live out and see those come to fruition. So if you're an investing guy, you know all about and planning for the future and investing in the future. There's no other more important thing to invest in than your health. Make sure you go check them out, Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group Men's Health Center, and tell them Patty G sent you. McClavy's Limited, a proud sponsor of the Patty G Show, has been serving the Baton Rouge area proudly for 40-plus years. Gentlemen and ladies, if you're shopping for your man, there is no other place in the Baton Rouge area to get your clothing, whether it's game day needs, everyday needs, business attire, formal attire, whatever you want. Go over there, see Frank and Ashley. It's a father-daughter duo. They do incredible things in their store. They will outfit you from as simply a shirt that you need for one evening or all the way to a full wardrobe overhaul. They're going to take care of you every step of the way, and be sure to let them know that Patty G Show sent you.
Simple man, don't wanna complicate ya. Complicate ya.